Yeah. Okay, Mala. Thank you. Thank you, Mansi. Thank you, Asu. Okay. Okay. Okay, so guys, we have completed our first lecture, or we have completed the introduction related to the subject. We have discussed what we are going to learn in the cloud computing and services. So, if I am going to, yeah, if I am going to summarize, or I just want to discuss what we have discussed in the last lecture and what we are going to learn now. So it was just like uh, we are going to discuss, or we are going to learn the basic concepts related to the cloud computing in the first unit. Then we are going to understand the virtualization and abstraction concept. It's a very important concept of the cloud computing. So whole system of the cloud is just going to work on the basis of virtualization and abstractions. So after this first and second unit, we are mainly focusing on the learning platform, and how we are going to use, and what is the actual cloud, and where we can use the various kind of services which we are going to discuss in the introduction of cloud computing in the first and second unit. So it's an example, or it's one kind of cloud that we are saying the Amazon Web Server, sorry, Amazon Web Service Server, or cloud we are going to use. And I have already mentioned we are going to discuss various type of services of AWS, like compute, storage, networking, security, and then in the last unit we are going to perform an deployment experiment related to the AWS. So this all thing was related to the summary key what you are going to learn. I also want to add one more new thing with this introduction. I will add to all of you, because at present I have not rights, or in the future maybe till the next slave, I, I I will receive the mail and I will get the rights. Key we can add, or I can add to all the people to the just wait to the AWS Learning Academic platform. Okay, so it's a platform, and then our university have tie up, or university is a member of this AWS Academy. So we all are going to join this, or I will share a mail related to that, and I will share a course registration related to the AWS Academy. So you have to start that course, and the same course I am going to learn here, and we are going to get some certificate related to that course, and most of the people are going to complete that things. So it will be very beneficially when you are going to start the things with the AWS Academy. Then you will understand how you can complete the valuable certifications related to the AWS, because the value of the certificates is very demanding into the market, and all the peoples are doing that type of certificates. So dear, till the next sleep, or till the next Monday, I'm promising all of you are going to receive an mail related to join the AWS academics, or AWS Academy Institute's mail on your mail ID. So it will be very beneficial for all of you, and I am going to register all of you with that course, or the same course which we are going to discuss in this syllabus. So you have to start your learning from there also. Now let's continue. After the introduction of the subject, I have also explained the introduction to the cloud computing. So let's continue the next topic related to that. So in the next topic, we are going to discuss. I think everyone will be comfortable now. What is cloud? Then now we are going to discuss how it's work, how it's different from the conventional. Then we are going to discuss on the types of cloud. Then we are going to discuss on challenges into the cloud. Then we are also going to discuss the just wait for a minute, guys. Important call is coming. I'm just yeah. Okay, sorry guys. So in the last lecture, I have started what is the cloud computing. So today we are going to discuss how it's work, what are the types of clouds, what are the challenges, and we are trying to understand the most important concept of the cloud, that is the service model, and that we call the service oriented architecture. So let's start the discussion on that. Just wait. Yes. So first, what is the cloud computing? So cloud computing is a new terminology, and it's a new technology to deploy the resources of the remote location with the concept of network and sorry, with the support of network and internet. So the remote accessment of for the remote delivery of the resources that we have discussed, and that was the cloud, or that computing we call the cloud computing. In the history, we have discussed the 3 points related to the cloud computing. So that 3 point was it was related to the IP configuration. What will be the problem with the IP conflict, and how we can get the maximum IP addresses, or we can get the solution to resolve this problem. So that was the history first point. Second, we have discussed in the history what was the requirement. So that was disaster recovery and disaster recover system. That means how we can recover our data if it's going to, or how we can plan a better disaster recovery for our data loss. So I have given a lots of example ki what is the mean of this disaster recovery with earthquake, with fire, with any disaster conditions all over the world. So this computing is giving an some sophisticated solution to find out the way ki how we can save that. After that, in the last one important concept of the cloud we have discussed related to the history, that was the availability. So this three configuration, disaster recovery, and high availability. So this high availability I have also explained ki when we are expecting any resource at the any location, so it's easy now. We have to not spend a lot to get that resource, and we have to not go anywhere to find out that resource. We have to just log in on a cloud platform through our internet, and we can get any kind of resource at any level on the cloud computing. So this three thing we have discussed, and the best way to deploy this resource expect this resource procedure and deployment through the VM machines, or we call the virtual machine. So we will discuss a lots, and we will learn ki how we can deploy the virtual machines. And I think everyone will be already have deployed the concept of virtual machine. So this all things was related to the history of cloud. So dear, it was just reconnections and revise things ki what we have discussed in the last lecture. Now let's continue on the next point. So, if you are comfortable with the cloud computing concept of the cloud, if you are comfortable with the history of the cloud, then we are going to compare the conventional computing and cloud computing. So you will really realize key what benefits we have not in the conventional computing, and what are the benefits we are actually getting from the cloud computing. So why all the IT organizations are trying to shift on the cloud computing. Earlier all the companies was working with the conventional computing, and a lots of features and a lots of scope in this field. Key most of the companies are trying to convert and trying to deploy on the cloud computing. So the first comparison between the conventional computing and the cloud computing, manual provision. So what is the mean of this provisioning? So it's a concept of the cloud that we call the provisioning. Okay. So if you just want to understand ki what is the mean of this provisioning, so please consider this one example. What is the provision to take the admission in the Marwadi University? In engineering department. So the general provision, you have to appear in the exam, and you have to complete your 12th, and then you can take the admission. So some provisions ki, okay, you have to pay this much fees, and you have to fill this admission form, then you can take the admission in the Marward University for engineering courses. In the same way, the provisioning concept we are trying to use for the cloud also, and conventional computing also. So there was an in the conventional computing, there was manual provisioning. So what is the mean of this manual provisioning? If you want to access any resource from the internet, or if you want to access any service from a client, sorry, from any server, so you have to follow a provision system. That means if I want to access the service from the Gmail, then I have to definitely register on the Gmail. Then I will be a customer of Gmail. Then I can use the services. So that was the manual way. But what is happening with the they have some specific protocols, and they have some specific rules to follow the manual provisioning. But in the cloud, it's going to work on the basis of self provisioning. That means now you know how you are going to use the Facebook, how you are going to use the AWS, and how you are going to use any kind of cloud. It's not like that you have to register yourself with the government and then you can use the AWS. It's not like that when you are trying to access the resources from the Microsoft cloud, when you are trying to access the resources from the Google cloud, so that time you have to get a permission from your government, you have to get a permission from any authority. So it's not like that, it's a self provisioning. If at this time Samir want to access, if at this time Vasu want to access the cloud, then he can access. All the things are in a easy provision way. So the mean of the provision, it's how you can connect with the cloud and how you can connect with the system. So the conventional system was very complicated, but the cloud or provision system of the cloud is very easy. Now it's also divided into the two parts: static provisioning and the dynamic provisioning. So when you will start the development, and if you will work with any organization that is providing the services related to the cloud, so you will understand the static provisioning also and dynamic provisioning also. So what is the mean of the static provisioning? So you can understand this thing by an example. What is the static uh, if I am summarizing what is the mean of provisioning, so it's a way how you can connect to the cloud. So we are going to discuss about the two provisioning. These two provisionings are static provisioning and dynamic provisioning. So dear, if you want to understand that static provisioning, so in the static provisioning, suppose I'm going to launch a cloud for a game. I'm providing five best game options or online gaming options, and today I'm going to launch my cloud. So how I will provision, and what will be the provision system? So in the static provisioning, I am giving some login and credential to my friends and my students. Okay, when you are trying to access my cloud, so that time you have to use this specific login and this specific login credentials. Then you can access this gaming platform for a 10 hours. It's free for my students. So if I am giving the provision key, you can just access my cloud through this login credentials, and some specific rights are going to given in a physical way or on a mail. So that is the static. That means I know today this 10 students who receive the coupons, this 10 students are going to access my cloud. So that is the static. When we are going to design and we are giving the rights to those people, so that is the static provisioning. And in the different way, the dynamic, when I'm going to launch the same gaming platform, and I'm not giving static rights to the people. Anyone all over the world who is interested to log in on my platform, he have to just register and he can just join my cloud. So there is no restriction to join, and dynamically people can join. So maybe today only 1000 people are going to join, because today I have started my platform, or today I have started my cloud, and second day 1 lakh people can come on my platform. So it's an dynamic. So we have to prepare ourselves like that. If we are trying to execute the system in a static way, then we know how many resources we have to provide through our cloud. But in the dynamic way, we have to prepare a bunch of resources. We don't know. Today I have started my portal, and I have started my cloud, and only 1000 people was going to use, and maybe next day 10,000 people are coming to use my cloud or coming to access my cloud. So is it clear to everyone what is the static provisioning and what is the dynamic provisioning, and what was the problem with the conventional and manual provisioning and dynamic in a cloud provisioning? Anyone have any doubt regarding this? Then you can ask me. Is it clear what is the mean of provisioning and how it's different into the cloud? Smriti, Devansh, Kunal, Manav. Yeah. So in generally, what is happening? Every cloud is following the dynamic provisioning. Some clouds are following the static provisioning also, but it's in-house. Okay. Suppose TCS, you are an employee of the TCS and you want to access the TCS cloud, then they are giving some rights. You can just access the cloud in that way. So, dear all, I think it will be clear to everyone. Now, let's come on the next point. So it's a beneficial things and it's a basic part of the cloud. Now the dedicated hardware, so shared hardware. In the conventional cloud computing, my laptop is one example. I can only use the configuration of my laptop which I buy, and I can only access the configuration of my network system which my organization is giving to access the rights and they have buy. So a dedicated hardware was there, and in the cloud it's going to provide a shared hardware. It will not like that my organization have a storage space of a 10 TB and I can't go extend to the 10 TB. So it's just a share. They are going to provide the 100 TB storage space through the cloud. So that is the share hardware, or you will understand. Please keep this all basic concept in your mind, how you can give this thing in the way, how we can provide the shared hardware way also. Now we are trying to understand the fixed capacity. So in the conventional computing, there was a fixed capacity. In the cloud, we have a static elastic capacity. So the fixed capacity is the limited resources, and the elastic capacity I have already explained. What is the mean of elastic? So I will explain. It's in the uh, characteristics of the cloud. When you are trying to access the system with the maximum resources, then you are going to pay the maximum pay. And if you have a not requirement of the resources in a maximum, suppose today I have requirement of 100 resources because the result is coming for the university, so maximum students are going to log in, so I have requirement of 100 resources. But in generally what happened, no one is going to log in on the website of the Marwadi, and only maximum 50 students are going to log in, maximum 50 for average time days. So when we have requirement of the 100 logins, then we can elastic our system that time. So it's like elastic system. When we have a heavy requirement of the resources, then we can extend our system, and when we have no need of the resource for the maximum access, so we can just release those resources. So it's an elastic capacity, and you will understand what is the mean and how it's provided by the cloud. So it's all over job how we are implementing the elasticity capacity into the cloud. So this thing we will understand later. Okay, so I think it will be clear to everyone. Fixed may be fixed, but the elastic it's depend. Now the pay for the capacity. So earlier what was happening, if I want to access the one server, then I have to buy that server, and if that server have a capacity of a specific range, then I will only going to pay for a specific capacity. But now what is happening, uh, if I am paying the 100 rupees to access the server, then that server can be provided a high capacity server or high speed server in the same amount. But when I was paying the 1 lakh rupees, so in the 1 lakh rupees I was getting the limited accessment, or I was getting the limited capacity of the server. So in the 100 rupees, now you can get the high capacity server, and earlier when I was buying 1 lakh, when I was spending the 1 lakh, so the capacity was limited. Now the capital and the operational expenses. So if you want to understand the capital and operational expenses, so it can be understand by a new startup. Okay, so if four students from your class, those are going to start their own startup. So what is the basic requirement? They have to spend at least 10 to 20 lakh rupees for their setup. So what they will do, they will just buy a office, they will buy a furniture, they will buy a computing resources like server, system, and all the storage and all the things related to the deployment and startup of the organization. But now they are spending a lots of things for the operations. They will hire some peons, they will hire some employees, they will hire some HRs and all. So this all thing was just a part of capital and the operational expenses. So it's a drawback of the manual. But what we are doing now, four students who are going to start their own startup, they have to just log in on a cloud. They can just prepare their own group. They can just prepare their own reasons, and in that groups they can start the working, and they can share their resources and that specific on that specific cloud with their groups. So no operational cost or expenses are going to bear with the organizations. So it will be clear to everyone. Now last, managed via the system admin. So there was a lots of requirement to manage the system, and how my all employees, how my all customers are going to use and going to access the resources. So it was a big headache for the company, and it was a required a system admin. But now this all things are going to maintain. The system admin is going to replace by the API. What is happening? Suppose I have started my company and I am going to monitor my 1000 customers. So I have to just connect my 1000 customer with API, which is provided by the cloud that you understand, API, Google Engine APIs and all. So I have to just connected my customer with that API, and I will just receive a bar and chart and pie type of data analytics for the resource assessment of my customers. So dear all, I think if we are going to summarize, so the self provisioning, customer can easily connect it, share hardware. So option of a large scale hardware, elastic capacity. It's not a bounded key. I am going to buy the 100 resources, then I have to always use, or I have to always pay for the 100 resources. It's an elastic way. Today I am going to access the 50, then I am going to pay for the 50, pay for the use. It's not like that we have a requirement of a 10 lakh rupees server, then we have to buy this server today. We can just pay the 10,000 rupees and we can access that server for a month. So it's an pay for the use. Next, operational expenses. So you know the example for new, all the four friends who are going to start their startup. So they have a just requirement of a laptop, and they have a just requirement of accessment or resources from the cloud, and they can just start their startup with a Google with a cloud groups. Or you will understand what is the mean of the groups and how we are going to divide the resources related to that groups. Now the managed by APIs. So a lots of APIs are coming into the market to maintain the organizations and to maintain the customer resources through the APIs. So guys, this conventional computing and cloud computing will be clear to everyone, and now you will realize what are the benefits of the conventional computing, cloud computing. Is it clear guys? सो अब ये दिमाग
Yes,
में
sir.
आ रहा होगा कि सर इतने सारे बेनिफिट्स मिल रहे हैं, देन हाउ द आईटी इंडस्ट्री इज इजी फॉर अस. ओके, ये नहीं है कि यार आज मैं कंपनी स्टार्ट कर रहा हूँ तो मुझे एटलीस्ट बैकअप चाहिए 20-30 लाख रुपीस का. We just for friend we are going to develop our application, and we are trying to deploy our application to test our application. Okay, it's not like that कि यार 6 month के लिए मैं अपना स्टार्टअप टेस्ट करना चाहता हूँ. So I have a need of a capital around 20 lakh rupees to start for the 6 month trial period. I can just start that setup, and I can just start that startup with a 50,000. So that all benefits are. Please keep this thing. This all things we are going to learn, and we are going to understand how we manage this all things. This you can just consider as a service also, and it's a part of the cloud. Okay, so next come, we can understand now we are going to discuss on the architecture of the cloud. So what is the cloud architecture? So dear, when I was talking in the starting key, we how we can deploy the resources on a remote location. So we have prepared and we have created an architecture, a better way ki how we can deploy this through the architecture. So in the architecture, we have started our journey with a system that we call the service oriented architecture system, SOA. So please keep this thing in your mind, service oriented architecture. Now in this service oriented architecture, some government agencies, some government organizations like ISO, like NIST, these organizations have prepare a dedicated architecture key. We are going to divide these services into three parts, and you have to follow, and you have to implement all the things in this way. So if you want to follow these rules and if you want to follow this thing, so the architecture will come into the picture with these three main services. Now the service oriented architecture can be understood by, or cloud architecture can be understood by these three service oriented architecture parts. First part is service or software as a service. Now if you are trying to deploy the resources on a cloud, then the service should be followed by a system or by a orientation architecture that will be always on the top like this. Okay, it will be always on the top like this. Ki customer, what customer is expecting or which type of service customer is going to expect from my side, so it will be in the part of software as a service, that we are saying the SaaS service of the of the cloud. Now what is the mean of this software as a service? Now when we are trying to deploy, when someone is going to ask you what is the software as a service, so he will always answer, or it will be an answer of other graduate people ki what is the software as a service. So he is going to use the software as a service, so he will say when we are going to receive the software in the form of resource, or when we are going to access the software, so that is the software as a service. But as a IT engineer or as a computer engineer, our concept should be different. We have to focus when any organization is trying to provide, and when any cloud is going to provide the software in the form of a service, so in the form of resources, or we have to use the word resource, so that will be the software as a service. So let's understand what will be the software as a service. Now this software as a service is going to connect and going to depend on all over the other services which are the part of service oriented architecture. Now software as a service is providing the application with the help of platform, with the help of infrastructure. So when my software is going to execute on a platform, or only an organization is providing the software, so that thing we are saying the software as a service. Now Salesforce is one kind of cloud provider which is providing any kind of features or any kind of software related to the CRM. What is the mean of the CRM? It's a customer relationship management system. So if you want to manage customer related to retail, if you want to manage the customer related to hotel, if you want to manage the customer related to the e-commerce business, so this all kind of customers and this all kind of customers can be maintained. You have to just go on a Salesforce and you have to access the bundle of a specific employees and a specific range of the customer. So what is happening, this Salesforce is only providing, and these people are only providing the software as a service. But how this software is going to reach at the end of the customer, this all things are going to access by the platform as a service also, and this things is going to execute with the infrastructure as a service also. So please keep this thing clear in your mind, what is the mean of the software as a service. So some cloud provider are into the market, those are only going to provide the software facilities, and this cloud provider who are going to provide the facility related to the software as a service, this platform, oh sorry, this cloud are also going to access, and this cloud are also going to provide their services through the platform as a service also, and through the infrastructure as a service also. So please understand this example by this real life example, it will be clear to everyone. I am a bank, just wait. Okay, sorry. Okay, but it's due to cough and cold, that's the problem. Okay. So guys, please understand this all service oriented architecture system by this and by this example, because everyone is familiar with the tele. Okay, even me about this software, why we use this software. Yeah, please mention into the chat box. why we use this software Tally? Yes, guys, you know, for accounting. Yeah, Smriti, very nice. So guys, we generally use the Tally is an software for the accounting, and you know all the organization or small organization are just going to use this Tally in a pirated way. What is the mean of this pirated way? They are just getting the soft copy from their friend, and they are installing in their system, and they are maintaining their account with this. But if you want to understand some big companies, like any company, like mobile company we can consider, or e-marketing company, so these are or the account system, or you can also consider Marwadi University. Suppose this MU is going to maintain all the account features with a paid software of the Tally. Now what is happening, if they are going to buy this Tally, so Marwadi University have to pay 15 lakh rupees per year. Are you getting my point? 15 lakh rupees per year to get a license version and all the facility related to the steady account. So is it right thing that these people are you know which type of organization, and they are just going to pay all, they are just going to access all the secure services of the Tally, then they have to pay the 15 lakh rupees. So it will be a big cost for the university. So now what they will do, they will just go on the Salesforce. So Salesforce is in a cloud provider as a service, oh sorry, software as a service provider. So what Salesforce is doing, Salesforce is paying up 15 lakh rupees to the Tally. Okay, they are paying the 15 lakh rupees to the Tally, and now Salesforce is providing the facility to 100 companies, or in this 100 company, Marwadi University is also one company which is going to access the Tally through the Salesforce. So what is happening, Salesforce have pay the 15 lakh rupees per year to the Tally, but now this Salesforce is charging only 50,000 15,000 rupees to Marwadi University, and they are getting all the features and all the benefits which they were accessing through the Tally. So what is happening, this thing we call the software as a service. Now what will be the cost? Now you will say the Salesforce is earning a lots of this, but Salesforce have to deploy, and Salesforce have to provide this all things and all the systems through the platform as a service. They have to pay, and they have to deploy this Tally software to all the clients from a specific cloud provider, that is the platform as a service. They have to pay to AWS also when they are trying to access the large scale storage. So this all things are just work on the basis of this hierarchy. So I think it will be clear to everyone, when Salesforce is providing the accounting software in the form of software as a service, then it's also going to depend on the platform, it's also going to depend on the infrastructure as a service. So it will be the hierarchy of the software as a service. Now a lots of software providers or a software as a service provider into the market. So you can search like Lotus Live, like the Salesforce, like the CRM. This Play Store is also coming the way of software as a service. What they are doing, they are just giving a lots of software, and this software are just a platform, or they are just going to provide this thing. So I think it will be clear to everyone what is the software as a service. So it's not always like that we have to develop a software and we have to provide the facility into the software as a service. So anyone have any doubt regarding this software as a service, then you can ask me. Is it clear, guys? What is going on in the business of this? Okay, now let's come on the point, platform as a service. Now most of the time we just keep this thing in the mind, and all the places are just going to discuss in that way. Okay, what is the mean of the platform as a service? So the mean of a platform as a service for a developer will be like that, okay, when any organization is providing the resources for the of software, so all the platforms are going to provide by that specific organization, so that is the platform as a service. So it's not like that. Okay, what is this deployment or the application? These two things are the common. So when we are trying to deploy the software to the customer, so that is the platform as a service. And when we are trying to create, or any organization is going to create the application, so that is the platform as a service. Now it will not clear like that, or it will not much clear by this. So please consider this example. if Smriti is trying to develop an application for a mobile application, or Smriti is trying to develop a mobile application. Now she has a requirement of a Android platform. She has a requirement of a MongoDB type of database. She has a requirement of some dependent libraries for a cloud. She has a requirement of a lots of security dependent package and library for that specific, because it's a secure application. So what Smriti have to do, she have to download and she have to create a platform for the development of ADK, Android development kit. Then she have to also install the tools related to the MongoDB. She have to also download the libraries for the security. She have to also download all the files related to the development. So now what she will do, she will just put the requirement ki I have a requirement of this platform, and she will just send this requirement to the cloud provider. And now a platform as a service cloud provider like a Google App Engine. So she just put the requirement to the Google Cloud App Engine, and Google Cloud App Engine have provided a platform ki you have to just go on over this library, and you have to just go on a platform like Juki. Okay, Juki. So if you are going over, if you want to develop an Android related application, then you have to just go on your Juki platform, and by this Juki platform you can get all your requirement. You can just start your development. So now what she is doing, she is just going to create the application. It's going to fulfill the first part for the development. Now if you have created this application and you want to deploy this application, so also a requirement. So now the deployment requirement, you can understand, she was trying to develop an Android application related to the game. Okay, or she was trying to develop an Android application related to the videos. Now for these videos and for this gaming platform, all the system have a requirement of good graphical user interface. Okay, good graphical user interface. That means what, when this application is going to launch, and when this application is going into the market, then all the user have a requirement of this GUI. So what will happen if she is not going to provide the deployment services to the customer in the with the help of this GUI, then no one is going to access this application. समझ में आ रहा है? ये गेम को प्ले करने के लिए मुझे इस टाइप का GUI रिक्वायर्ड है, and Smriti is not going to provide this type of GUI to every customer, then what will happen, only a limited scope of the customer will be the market कि यार इस टाइप के ही कस्टमर मेरे गेम्स को यूज कर रहे हैं, because we have to edit the credentials, or we have to edit the deployment deployment restriction कि this type of GUI should be available into your system. So what will happen, provider or a platform as a service provider, when someone is going to log in on the application, it will already install that GUI platform on the customer's application. So to create the application, we are also providing the platform, and to deploy the application, we are also providing the platform. So this two type of things are happening through the cloud. So most of the time some confidential and some large scale application you are trying to access on your mobile, so platform acceptance and the terms and condition will be always there, and they are trying to download some files on your system. So why they are trying to download that file on your system? That means they are providing a virtual machine atmosphere on your system. Keep after the installation and download process of that application, you can access that applications. So is it clear what is the mean of the deployment of the application and the create of the application? Gaming platform में generally ये होता है. Is it, what is the platform as a service? Smriti? Kunal?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so in lots of softwares and games, most of the time student can easily understand by the games, because we are on I think you are playing a lots of online games. So some games are not going to run on my system when my net speed is not high. So what is the requirement for that? This game is always going to play with this specific net speed. So what will happen? The system will reduce or increase that, manage that things related to the deployment of that game. Now in the last, so you, it's in the last we are going to discuss. Now this platform have a requirement of a specific infrastructure as a service. So what is the mean of this specific infrastructure as a service? So if you want to deploy this type of game, if you want to play this type of game, then you have to require of a at least 4 GB PC. Are you getting my point? जो स्मृति ने गेम डेवलप किया था और स्मृति was trying to deploy that game, so every customer have a requirement of a 4 GB game, a 4 GB RAM, then he can play that game. So is it possible कि ऑनलाइन मोड में स्मृति एक गेम लॉन्च कर रही है और उस गेम का रिस्ट्रिक्शन ये है कि 4 GB रैम की रिक्वायरमेंट होगी, so how many customers will come? You know, those customers are going to use a 1 GB RAM, they are not will be a customer. Those customers who are going to use a 2 GB RAM, those customers will not be a customer. So to deploy this game and to play, to provide the playing platform and playing atmosphere, Smriti is going to provide the 4 GB RAM atmosphere in the form of platform. So that is the mean of infrastructure as a service is always going to depend on the platform as a service, or we can say the platform as a service. It's also going to connect with the infrastructure as a service. So is it clear? If you want to create any application, then you have a requirement of a 2.6 gigahertz PC, or computing power of your system should be 2.6 gigahertz. What will happen? My system was only 1.5 gigahertz, or it's a 5 gigahertz computing power. So I can't develop the software? No. We can just go on a platform as a service, and the service provider who is providing the facility of like Microsoft Azure, so they will provide me a software or a deployment platform. This deployment platform is going to support with the 2.6 gigahertz a virtual machine. Now, you want to execute all the and platform as a service, so it's just going to so the resources is the main part that infrastructure as a service. So when you are trying to deploy and when you are trying to provide the service in the form of software, when you are trying to provide the service into the form of platform, the requirement of a resource pool of the hardware. So that resource pool can be rendered processing, storage, network bandwidth, capacity of the computing resources. My system was 1.5 gigahertz and I developed that applications. The basic requirement was a 2.6 gigahertz. So when I was accessing the platform, so that 2.6 gigahertz processing power is just provided in the form of rented service. So I have to pay to the infrastructure as a service. When I want to run a program, that program have a back end of the database is 5 TB, and in my system only a 1 TB storage is available. So when I want to execute that program that have a backup database is a backend database is a 5 TB, so I can just run that code with the help of a storage facility in the way of storage as a service, or that we are saying the infrastructure as a service. So dear, how this oriented architecture is related to every service. So from the top, if you want to deploy the software as a service, then you have to access the platform also, and then you have to access the infrastructure as also. When you want to, when you are becoming a customer of or a vendor of the platform, then you have to discuss or you have to plan your infrastructure as a service. And in the last, infrastructure as a service, so you can understand how easy this thing will be with the Amazon. If they are providing the infrastructure as a service, or they are a vendor of the infrastructure as a service, then they can manage all the things easily. So PCS is only a company who is going to provide the facility related to the software as a service. They are trying to provide the facility to the platform as a service, but how they can provide this service? So the resources and the hardware of infrastructure as a service of AWS. So guys, this is the service oriented architecture of the cloud. If anyone have any problem related to that, I'm just going to give the definition. Software as a service is a software delivery methodology to provide the software in a remote way on a web based. But as a developer, it's not useful for us. We have to keep all the things related to the resource way. Infrastructure as a services and delivery technology of the infrastructure
in a on-demand scalable service. When customer is expecting the resource, then we have to provide. Next and last, platform as a service. So the platform as a service is and provided the facility to develop the software, to deploy the softwares. Always keep this thing, or always keep this example. In the future, you may be working with an organization who is going to use the platform as a service only for the development, and you are going to work with the organization who is going to support for the deployment of the software. So some of my students are working with the organization, they are just supporting for the deployment of application. That means what, they are providing the GUI, they are providing the basic support for the execution of the software, and some are providing with the development also. So if anyone have any doubt regarding this, then you can ask me. This basic thing should be clear to everyone. Is it clear? It's an architecture of the cloud computing. So someone is going to ask the architecture, then we are following these things. And you know the hierarchy should be clear to everyone. Software to platform, platform to infra. But in the software, infra and platform will also include. So you can explain how it will include with the example. And in the platform, how infrastructure will be included. So you can explain the execution and the requirement of the infrastructure will be depend like that. So guys, it's all, I'm just going to summarize what we have discussed, because it's a very important lecture. So the conventional, so it will be clear with all, today we have discussed about the conventional computing and the cloud computing. So it will be clear what are the benefits are going to provide by the cloud computing. Then we have discussed on the service oriented architecture. So in the service oriented architecture, SaaS, PaaS, and infrastructure as a service. So it should not summarize, or it should not like by the name infrastructure is going to provide by the way. Concept should be clear how we are going to provide this all. In the next, we are going to discuss on the characteristics and types of the cloud. So it will be the first unit. So I think everyone will be comfortable. If anyone have any doubt, then you can ask me. Okay, guys. So from my side, I'm going to end this session here. Let's start the attendance.